Television is a vast landscape with tons of shows coming out all the time. It's impossible to keep up with everything. And usually in the television medium, shows release their new season once a year and keep doing that until the end. There are some exceptions, of course, but this is by and large the rule. Now, most of my absolute favorite shows have proven themselves at this point, and I don't have much worry about them. And the reason for that tends to be a combination of those shows going on for so long and being consistently great each year, and also knowing enough about the creative team behind those shows to know that they are giving it their all, and know that it's very unlikely that they're going to put out a bad season. Although, of course, nobody tries to put out a bad season, it just unfortunately happens sometimes. It's Always Sunny serves as a great example of both to me. This show has been on the air since 2005, and the creative team still manages to surprise me and make me laugh a lot. I've genuinely enjoyed every season so much, and I think that seasons 2 through 12 are all better than the first season, and what I've seen of 13 so far. And I thought that the first season was actually great, so that's a huge compliment to give to that show. And Mr. Robot is a show that, while only on the air for just over 3 years, I have a lot of faith in, because not only has the show managed to improve ridiculously well on its already strong foundation, but I know enough about Sam Esmail to know how much he cares about this project, and the fact that he's voluntarily bringing this story to a close in only its 4th season just proves that. But this video is not about those shows. The reason that I bring these shows up is that I'm explaining why I'm not worried for them in their returning seasons. I don't think that I have a reason to be. So while it is important to me that these shows end strongly, or even that they just continue strongly, I already feel like they're going to, and that there isn't really anything to worry about, or any reason that to think they might not. But Doctor Who is a very different kind of show. It's been going on for more than half of a decade, and we continue to see creative teams shift in and out of the show, and the main actor is constantly changing. And while I would like to point out that I'm not actually worried for Series 11 much at this point, in fact I'm actually quite excited for it, I do recognize that there is a possibility this season won't go over well, and this video is really more about why this season needs to succeed, rather than being about why it might not, or the reasons that it might not. And I would like to be clear that I am really excited for this season, and of course want it to be great, and it's very important to me that it is great, or at least good, and that it does succeed. Obviously this season is a massive overhaul, arguably the biggest since 2005, and I'm going to start off by talking about what I feel is the most important change, which to me is Chris Chibnall as the showrunner. Regardless of what you thought of the previous showrunners, we have a new one, and he's here to stay for some time at least. And that's why I feel he's the most important change. The showrunner is so important in Doctor Who. You can feel their presence over the whole show, and this is true for any show. And they are vital to making a coherent narrative out of a season. In addition, we have no returning writers, aside from Chibnall himself, so we don't really know what to expect from them, because if it turns out that we have writers who are ill-fitted for the show, then that means that we will be in for a roller coaster of a season, but not in a good way. But with Chibnall, if he can't do his job right, then that's the stage for his whole era, and while he might be able to improve, it would be a bad place to start, and I don't want Doctor Who to be bad. I never do. Of course, he could start off well, and that would also bode for his entire era. If he manages to put out a great season, then that means he will probably be able to do so in the future. And that's part of the reason why I feel that it's really important that this season succeeds. The fact is that I don't know what to expect with Chibnall in charge. Maybe it'll be great and maybe it won't. I just don't know. And yeah, he has written for the show before, but it's hard to use that as evidence for what will come, because once he has full control, really, anything could happen. I don't mean to speak ill against Chibnall. I really hope he has done well, and if I had to bet money, I would bet that he has. But the fact is that I just don't know yet. So to me, Chris Chibnall is crucial to this season, because how well he handles Series 11 gives us a glimpse at how he can do with the whole show. And we are going to be stuck with him for a bit, so if he does well in his first series, then he will probably do well throughout his tenure. But if he doesn't, he probably won't. It's pretty straightforward, but very important to me, and it's very important to the show. I'm really not concerned for a new actor replaying the Doctor because, the way I see it, there's only been one Doctor that I didn't like, but it's hard to see how much of that was even Colin Baker's fault, and how much was John Nathan Turner's fault. So I'm not concerned about the casting. If they've cast her, she'll probably be great. I'll just have to wait and see. And I have legitimately liked all that I have seen so far. The first look in the train was great, and what we've seen on the trailers has looked really good. So I can't wait to see how well she does in the show and how she manages to turn the part into something of her own. That really excites me. My point about Jodie Whittaker is probably best represented with the Doctor Who movie, where we got Paul McGann, who, if you didn't know, can actually act, but the movie was just so bad, in my opinion, that he couldn't make up for it. And if you like that movie, I'm glad, but to me, that was a case where the actor suffered greatly from the material given. But it was truly great when he finally did get a chance to shine in The Night of the Doctor, even though it was only 7 minutes long. And I'm really glad that Paul got that. I just hope that Jodie Whittaker doesn't suffer from poor writing, as I feel that he did in his Doctor Who movie, because that would be something that she couldn't fix, and I would just feel bad for her because that would be really unfortunate. It's also pretty likely that if the show returns, some people would blame the show's failure on her, considering that she is the lead, and some people wouldn't be able to look beyond that. Not everyone, but I'm saying that it is likely a notable amount of people would. And it is possible that it would be on her if she doesn't do the part justice, that is. But that would be surprising to me. It seems very likely that she will. I think the show's greatest chance at failing would be if the writing is bad. And I would like to point out again, I don't expect it to be. I expect it to be good, but that is probably the biggest likelihood of a fall down. And this kind of thing is always true for shows. Whenever there's a big shakeup, there's always a chance that things won't go good, and things will go awry. And when you lose a main character, or when members of the creative team behind the scenes are lost, there is always the legitimate possibility that things won't go well. But this is the nature of how Doctor Who has been running for almost 55 years. We get big changes in the show, in front of and behind the scenes all the time. And being able to reinvent itself like this is why the franchise has sustained itself for so long, and showing no signs of stopping. Sometimes things take a turn for the better, sometimes it's a misstep, but even if it goes in the wrong direction, it's only so long before the show gets back on the right track. It's also important that the show wins over the fans that are still on the fence about this season, because there's a good amount of people that are at risk of bailing if this season just isn't good. So it's important that those people are won over in this first series, because many won't stick around for another. Of course, I will stay around with the show no matter what, whether it's the best or the worst show on television. I will be interested in it and examine why on either end. I would never give up on this show. As I said, even if the show takes a dip, it will inevitably find the right path and get back up there. My real point here is that the season needs to succeed, because how well this season does is a big forebearer of what is to come in the future of the new creative team behind it. And if this season does do as well as I expect it to, and as well as I want it to, I will be very satisfied. And I really don't mean to come across negative in this video, because I actually do expect it to be really well. I'm just trying to explain why I think that it's so important that the season does do well, because it's a huge forebearer for what's to come. And if this season is good, then the rest probably will be. But if it isn't, then that would really worry me, and I would be quite concerned, and honestly, it probably wouldn't be good. But there is always a chance for improvement if this season doesn't land. But like I said, I really expect it to. My point isn't about why it could go wrong, but rather why it needs to succeed, because there are some reasons this series really needs to succeed, and that's just all I really wanted to say about it. So are you guys looking forward to Series 11? Are you concerned, or do you think it's going to be as good as ever? Let me know what you expect down below. I'll be giving weekly reviews for this series as it comes out, so if you stick around, then I will give you my thoughts on Series 11 and the 13th Doctor. I should have a video out next week ranking the post-regeneration episodes after we get the new one on Sunday. As a side note, the Classic Who reviews are going to be postponed until after Series 11 ends. Even though I said Edge of Destruction would be out Sunday, it actually won't be, as that is when the new series is starting. And also, videos aren't going to be on Sundays anymore. They're just going to be out as quickly as I can get them out after the episode drops, which will hopefully be Mondays usually, but I have no idea how it's going to turn out or what the turnaround's going to look like. So that's all for today. I hope to see you next week when I discuss The Woman Who Fell to Earth. Thank you for watching. Take care. and have a lovely week.